Hello, and welcome to Inventors Helping Inventors. I'm your host, Alan Beckley, inventor of the Wonder Wallet. If you're an inventor searching for proven ways to make money with your invention, if you dream to see your product selling in stores everywhere, you've come to the right place. There's no better place to get help than from experts, inventors who've already achieved success. Every week, I interview successful inventors, asking them the questions you want to know. Tune in to learn from the experts so you can get your invention out of the tank and into the bank.
The biggest challenge we faced early on is we didn't do the research ahead of time to find, okay, this product solves a problem. That problem is changing the oil on your vehicle is messy. How many people are searching for things related to that on Amazon that we can put this product in front of?
Welcome to episode number 624. Today is a rebroadcast of one of our classic favorites, episode number 410, back to May 27th of 2024 with successful inventor Elliott Heinrich. Elliott is a co-inventor with Kevin Moran. In this interview, he shares key Amazon sales and marketing tools that have accelerated their invention success. I think you're going to enjoy this episode as much as I did. Elliott Heinrich is a Michigan-based entrepreneur and co-inventor, along with Kevin Moran, of two products, the 5-Minute Pet Bath and the Oil Udder. The 5-Minute Pet Bath turns a standard shower head into a gentle pet shower designed to reduce stress and anxiety when bathing your pet. The Oil Udder is designed to reduce messes when changing your vehicle's oil. He handles all things related to Amazon, sales, and marketing for both inventions. Their inventions have been featured in Car and Driver, Motor Trend TV, and ChrisFix, a YouTube influencer. His previous career focused on sales and marketing in the telecom industry, where he has over 13 years of experience. He enjoys spending time hunting in Michigan and out west, sailing, playing music, and spending time with his family. For this interview, we focused upon tools, tips, and tactics that Elliott has employed in achieving success on Amazon with his products over the last 4 years. You'll want to listen to this entire interview to learn how Elliott discovered it was initially challenging to find effective keywords on Amazon describing their unique product, the Oil Udder, and also the solution he found to address that challenge. Also, how Elliott and Kevin spent thousands of dollars attempting to defend their patents from knockoffs on Amazon. Listen in to learn a much more effective solution they found that cost only $50. And finally, how to determine when it is best for you to fulfill and ship product orders on Amazon yourself, FBM, or is better to have Amazon fulfill the orders for you, FBA. Now let's get right to our interview with Elliott Heinrich. Well, Elliott Heinrich, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast with us today.
Thanks, Alan. I'm really happy to be here.
Elliott, last week, we interviewed your business partner and co-inventor, Kevin Moran, in episode number 408. During that interview, he alluded to some key Amazon strategies you've used successfully, particularly with your 5-Minute Pet Bath product. I've not previously interviewed an inventor about keys to successful marketing with Amazon, but I felt it would be a topic many of the listeners would be keen to learn about. And lots of inventors look to Amazon as a great resource to access millions of potential buyers. But they sometimes find working with Amazon to be, let's say at times, a bit daunting or perhaps frustrating. Can you share with our listeners an issue or a challenge that you and Kevin encountered in marketing your products via Amazon? And can you share what was the challenge and how did you address it and move forward? Can you share that with our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. And for this one, I'm going to think back to when I was starting on Amazon, and when Kevin and I were starting on Amazon, what were the things that I would have wanted to know back then that could have saved us a lot of time and money and accelerated the growth of our business. So thinking about that, the biggest challenge I would say, so we have a product called the oil udder, which is our first invention. We launched on Amazon in July of 2020. So right in the heart of the beginning of the pandemic. And one question we never considered was, are there people looking for a product like this? The oil udder is essentially a cup that reduces the mess and makes changing your vehicle's oil easier. And we both loved it. We had prototypes, it worked great. But once we went live on Amazon, we began to discover that this is a first of its kind product and no one was really searching for it. So Amazon is driven all by search term targeting, and no one was searching for something like spill-free oil filter removal tool. They just weren't searching that. We got off to a real slow start, and we were spending a lot of money on what they call PPC, or pay-per-click advertising, which is essentially I'm putting in a search term like spill-free oil filter funnel, and then we're paying each time someone clicks our link when we're sponsoring that search term. And we were just spending a lot of money in PPC advertising because people weren't really searching for a product like this because it's the first of its kind, essentially. And so, yeah, to answer the question, that is the biggest challenge we faced early on. Is we didn't do the research ahead of time to find, okay, this product solves a problem. That problem is changing the oil on your vehicle is messy. How many people are searching for things related to that on Amazon that we can put this product in front of?
You make several really great points there that I'd like to highlight for our listeners. One of them is to recognize first and foremost that Amazon is a search engine, that people do come to Amazon searching for something specific, and that makes it a great marketplace to sell things. But you have to think, what would they search on that would direct them to a product like mine? And if your product is a little bit unique, sometimes that can be a challenge, because to use your oil udder example, if people assume that changing oil is always going to be a messy business, then they're probably not searching for how to change oil without making a mess, because they don't think you can do it. So that could be a potential challenge, that if you have a product that is a little bit different and unique to the experience of buyers, then when you've got a search engine, what are they going to search for to get to that? I guess a question I would ask is, so with regards to the oil udder, what was your solution to that, or how did you approach that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's a couple phase approach. The first approach we took, which was successful, was okay. We know the product worked really well at what it does. The problem is it's not on the average customer's radar to search for something like that because it's never existed, and they just have assumed that oil changing is going to be messy. So what we did early on is we started targeting peripheral products. So what a customer might not be searching for the problem the oil udder solves or some attributes of the oil udder, but a customer that uses oil spill mat for their garage. Obviously, they're using that because they've spilled oil and they don't like a mess. So if they're getting those, they're not okay with just getting oil on their concrete. A clean process is important to them. And then just other peripheral oil change products like oil filter wrenches or ramp to drive your car up on, a Fomoto quick drain valve, which would be another more niche thing where, someone screws in a ball valve to replace their drain plug so they can simply just open a ball valve instead of unscrew their drain plug. So that's a customer that obviously doesn't like a mess either. So those peripheral products, targeting those. And then the next thing was driving our own attention to Amazon. And we did that through getting in Car and Driver magazine, then appearing on Motor Trend TV, and then on Chris Fix, who's the largest automotive YouTuber. And that drove our own traffic to Amazon. And now here we are. We're coming up on 4 years on Amazon. And if I run the analytics on what people are searching for, now our brand name, Oil Udder, in the scope of our product and our sales, it's searched quite frequently on Amazon. So we created our own brand recognition using our own marketing efforts that were outside of Amazon.
Thanks for sharing that. I really like that. It makes so much sense. The idea that, once again, if you've got a truly unique product that in general people aren't going to be searching for, what else are they doing that would point to somebody who would benefit from your product? Obviously, somebody's looking for oil spill mats, oil wrenches, people are changing their oil, then reaching out to them. But think about peripheral. What else are they looking for that points to somebody who could or should be a buyer? And then ultimately, as you say, you drive search towards it yourself by doing things like, as you mentioned, Chris Fix and the Motor Trend, and getting some of that going as well. And with my own product that I did sell for about 6 or 7 years on Amazon, my thin wallets that at that time was called Savvy Caddy, I found that people were searching for thin wallets. So that part wasn't such a problem. But over time, I found I was getting more and more people searching for Savvy Caddy because they'd heard of the name and the uniqueness, but that didn't happen anytime early on. Anyways, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I want to ask you, can you point to a misperception inventors often have in marketing through Amazon? One, it's a two-part question here. And also, there's at least an urban myth that if your product sells very well on Amazon, they might coerce you to try to sell out to them or use their economic might and squeeze you out of business by underpricing a knockoff of your product on their own platform, competing with you directly. Do you think this is a real risk or not something inventors really should worry about?
That's a great question. So in terms of Amazon, the actual company using their economic might to knock off the product and come out with one, I never had that experience. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but generally what they do, at least from the research I've done, and we've never been in this position with Amazon, but they will buy your product wholesale and sell it. If you're on an Amazon listing, you'll see sold by Amazon, shipped by Amazon. If it's both of those things, Amazon is selling that product directly, and they will generally come to a wholesale agreement with that supplier, and in our case, our LLC, and they would buy them and sell them on Amazon. Where I see the bigger risk is not Amazon itself, but other Amazon sellers, because I do have experience with that. We have had the oil udder was directly knocked off from a Chinese seller. It was a complete copy. And then with our product, the recently rebranded 5-minute pet bath, that hasn't been directly copied, but the concept has been copied twice now. And my 2 cents on this is I wouldn't let that fear dissuade you from selling on Amazon to anyone out there that, has a product, or they have an idea for a product that they're potentially looking at sales channels for. I wouldn't let that dissuade you from selling on Amazon. And it's even in the last 4 years, Amazon has given sellers a lot more tools to combat these things. So they have a transparency program that uses a 3D unique barcode that can't be copied, that verifies the authenticity of your product if they're copying it directly. They also have different avenues to report infringement. And my advice to anyone that is selling a product on Amazon, and thinking about cost in mind too, because obviously, like when you're just getting started, you don't want to spend $15,000 with your lawyer to go after someone on Amazon for violating a patent. The patent route tends to be the most time consuming and most expensive. What I found is a lot of times these sellers that copy your product will also copy your images or maybe Photoshop them slightly and include them into another graphic. It's really affordable to do a bulk copyright upload with the USPTO. So I do it once a year with every single image that I've taken that year. And Amazon can very quickly, with a copyright claim, within a matter of 1 to 2 days, pull a listing down. So that's what ultimately worked for Oil Udder, is they were using our copyrighted images and we got them taken down. Well, once we figured out that that was an option, they were down in 1 to 2 days.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate you sharing that. And I've heard that before, that a frustration of patents is actually, I say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. If you're successful, you will be knocked off, patented or not. That's just part of the business, I would say. But what I have heard is where patent enforcement is very expensive and challenging, and for any number of reasons. But copyright enforcement is much stronger, and even trademark enforcement similarly. So doing the bulk copyright upload seems like an ingenious idea, because it's just it's a lot more black and white. In other words, you can compare and say, "Oh, this is exactly the same thing." Obviously, they're knocking it off. So that seems like a really great strategy, and it seems like it's one that would be pretty cost effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's $50 to upload up to 2,000 images. So we do that once a year for both brands, and then everything, even if we're not using the photos, I just do everything. And because I guess to give a little backstory leading up to this, we'd spent thousands of dollars with our attorney trying to fight it on a patent perspective, and it just went nowhere. And then we figured this out, and it was just a quick submission, and Amazon pulled them down. So that's something I wish I would have known 4 years ago, and I hope it's helpful to someone else that starts selling on Amazon.
No, I think it definitely will be. Well, those have been some negative questions, and now I'd like to go on to some more positive questions. And one of them is, what would you say is the best thing that you found with your products in selling on Amazon? And are there key actions or steps that inventors should take early on to optimize their results selling via Amazon? Could you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the most obvious thing, and Alan, you mentioned it earlier, is just the amount of eyes you're going to get on the product. Amazon in itself is the most powerful e-commerce platform, and they compete with some retail giants as well. If you want to sell online, I think Amazon is the place where it has its downsides, but you're just going to get in front of so many more people. So that's the number one thing. And then in terms of your invention or your product or the idea itself, you can quickly get a lot of data about your product and things that you might need to change. So very quickly, you're going to learn through customer reviews, like what don't they like about the product? What do they like about the product? And you can use that information to figure out, is this a problem with the actual product, or are our instructions or our packaging, are the issues in the reviews about people not understanding how to use it, or are they with the actual product themselves? And with the 5 Minute Pet Bath, we have had both of these, and we're recently in this rebranding and relaunching with some tweaks to address some of those things, both with the product itself and the packaging and instructions. The other thing is, you can, and this again is something that I wish I would have known 4 years ago when we launched Oil Udder, you can quickly and fairly inexpensively figure out what works. So what keywords actually convert at a high rate for your product, both keywords you're paying for, but also organically. Because a big thing with Amazon is in your title, your bullet points, in your description, you're including all of the keywords that perform best for you or convert the best. And you can get your product to a very not high, but a conversion rate that you want. So how many people viewed your listings, how many people bought your product, and once you have fixed everything with your listing and your keyword targeting and you're converting at a rate that's acceptable to you, now it's easy to go put more traffic in. Now it's easy to go to Car and Driver or get in touch with a TikTok influencer. And you know that if I put this money in from an outside source to promote this product, I know it's going to convert at X percentage. And knowing that you're converting at that acceptable target percentage versus having a product that you don't have any of that data for, and you go throw a few $1,000s to an influencer that then promotes it, and you may have only converted at a quarter or, a fifth, 20, 25% of what you would have, knowing now through selling on Amazon that everything is in the right place for you to be able to capture the majority of those sales with the eyes that you paid to get on the product.
Yes, thank you. And there's some great information there for our listeners, and particularly glomming on and understanding and finding the keywords that work for you, both the pay-per-click type keywords as well as organic keywords, and recognizing which ones drive the traffic to your product, and then make sure and creatively use those keywords in your descriptions, etc. And then also, as you said, once you have that data, because you get lots of data from your product, lots of reviews, and the reviews tell you a lot of valuable things, then you can research through that and say, maybe our instructions need to be improved. Why is it, are people misunderstanding how to use it? Or is there some kind of flaw or challenge with our product that we could correct? So besides the fact that it's a great place to sell, it also gives you a lot of valuable data and metrics that you then can use to improve your marketing writ large, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing too I'd like to mention about Amazon is you can do A/B experiments, see what works better than something else with your images, title, things like that. So I look at it, if you're launching a product early on, this is a very inexpensive playground to run experiments to get your product in the place where you want it to be from a presentation and a conversion rate perspective, to then expand to other sources of marketing and spend additional dollars to bring more people to view your product.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. One option Amazon sellers have is to ship their product to Amazon warehouse and have Amazon handle the fulfillment and shipping of orders for them. This can free up time for the inventor and use Amazon's fulfillment and shipping expertise. But my understanding is that fulfillment by Amazon, or FBA, does have significant costs. Could you share with our listeners your tips and tricks regarding when the inventor should handle their own fulfillment and shipment, and when does it make more sense to have Amazon do it for them? Could you give us your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can. Amazon knows the position they're in. They're the largest e-commerce retailer, and the biggest cost when you're selling on Amazon is the referral fee, which is going to be the same whether you are shipping the product yourself or Amazon is shipping it to the customer. So FBA fulfilled by Amazon or FBM fulfilled by merchant. For our products, it almost always makes sense on Amazon to do fulfilled by Amazon, FBA. Now on our website direct, we're not paying the Amazon referral fee. So just to give you some examples, the costs us about $5 more to do FBA over FBM in terms of Amazon fees. But now you consider like an oil letter, for instance. When we first launched it, I think the cheapest shipping fee was $3.18. And that was in the northeastern United States, which we're located in Michigan. Now it's over $4. So shipping on an oil letter is anywhere from $4 to $7. If Amazon's charging $4.99 is their FBA fee now for that product. Then it changes based on the weight of the product, the category you're selling in. It's not static, but in our case, it almost never makes sense to do fulfilled by merchant because our shipping cost is generally more than what Amazon charges to fulfill it. With that being said, I would say if you do FBM, fulfilled by merchant, to get started on Amazon. If you're selling more than 50 units a month, it's probably best to transition that to FBA unless the fees don't make sense based on the weight, the dimensions. You'll have to go. Amazon has free calculators on their website where you can plug in your selling price, your cost of the product, the weight, the dimensions. They'll tell you exactly the difference between FBM and FBA. But in a lot of cases, it makes sense just to have Amazon handle that for you.
Thanks for sharing that with us and giving some metrics in my own product. Just because what I had going on, I was driving off a website using Amazon, et cetera. So I ended up doing FBM forever, but probably I should have taken a more deeper look as I began to get more and more sales and have fulfillment by Amazon. And the other thing that I wished I'd learned early on or thought more seriously about is one of the early questions I had to ask was, what is going to be your promised turnaround on an order? And I said, oh, 2 days sounds good. And then I didn't realize I should have picked 3 days because I was selling like at VA hospitals myself all day long. And then at night I would go fulfill my orders when I drive down to Houston, for example. And so there was a day gone and I'd see that I had an Amazon order. I thought, that's got to be fulfilled tonight. I can't wait till the next day or I'll miss my 2-day turnaround. And I don't know if that's still something that can be an issue, but you do want to think about what kind of turnaround times that you want to do it because your reputation is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we recently ran into that with a newer platform called TikTok Shop where they don't do any fulfillment themselves. So you have to fulfill it. And it was a very similar thing to what you're describing, Alan, where I just set my fulfillment time to 2 days or something. And then, all of a sudden we had an order and it was a little late. We didn't get penalized. But yeah, those types of things are important to look into. And also once you do FBA, that freedom is nice. Like you send it all to Amazon and they just deal with it. And I was up hunting this week and I'm going on vacation this weekend and you just don't have to think about it. Amazon's handling it.
Elliot, as we wind towards a close, are there any parting words you'd like to leave us with?
Thinking about Amazon, I know it can be daunting and Amazon, as I like to say, is the devil we know, where there are issues. You're certainly opening your product up to a lot of eyes, both in this country and elsewhere, that might try to knock you off. But I would encourage anyone who has an invention, a product that they're already selling, or someone that just has an idea to poke around on Amazon and get a feel for what their market would be, what people are searching for. There are plenty of free tools or tools that have free trials available where you can see the exact number of searches for gentle pet shower in a month. Any search firm, you can see how many people are searching that in a month. You can see what your competitors are selling. And you can really get a good idea for that landscape of what it would look like if you did put your product on Amazon. And you'll get a lot of data by trying to sell on Amazon. Like I mentioned earlier, you'll see how you're converting. You'll see what the reviews are. Maybe there's some tweaks you need to make to the product, the instructions, the packaging. Maybe you are targeting the wrong person. Like for instance, Oil Udder works really good with vertically installed filters. It doesn't work for horizontally installed filters. So if I'm targeting a customer that has a Nissan Rogue, which is a horizontal filter, they're going to leave us a lot of bad reviews because it's not designed for them. So you can see all that stuff by just taking a tour around Amazon using the various tools that are out there. And you can also do that pre-prototyping. Kevin and I have a list of, we just have a list of problems, and then we'll come up with a solution to the problem. And then I'll go on Amazon and see if it's worth trying to bring that problem or that product that solves the problem to market. So you can use Amazon not just after you've invented something, but before you even start trying to invent something. You just have a problem and you're trying to see if people want a solution for it or how easy it's going to be to launch that. So I wouldn't throw Amazon away. I think it's an incredible platform. You're going to get more eyes on your product, more visits to the product page than anywhere else. And yes, there are some downsides, but don't ignore it. I would encourage everyone to check it out and learn more about Amazon.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And I hadn't thought about the concept of testing out even a new product idea by using the metrics and searching and seeing what the volumes might be and whether it's worth pursuing. So that's another great tip for our listeners. And my last question then is, how can our listeners reach you if they have other questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's my last name and then my first name on Instagram. So Heinrich Elliott, HEINRICH ELLIOTT. Or if you want to get in touch with me by email, the easiest place is Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, at oilutter.com.
So on Instagram, they can just use your last name, Heinrich, HEINRICHELLIOTT. Or if they want to do an email, they can get you at Elliott, again, ELLIOTT, at oilutter.com, right?
Yep. Yeah, you got it.
That's great. Thank you so much for being on the podcast with us again today, Elliott. And we've had Kevin on twice, so I'd say the same thing I always say. Would like to touch bases with you guys another 6 months or a year and see what all you've got going at that time. But thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. I hope this was usable.
Oh, absolutely. So thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Inventors Helping Inventors. If you like the show, please tell your friends about it. Make sure to subscribe in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts so you won't miss a single episode. Talk to you soon.